Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Premier and Cabinet talk a lot about job creation programs, yet when you ask them for specifics, they never have any. Nearly every week, this government issues a news release about creating jobs, and yet Albertans are not finding new jobs. In fact, Alberta government stats indicate increasing unemployment and falling job vacancies. Alberta lost 20,800 jobs in April alone. To the Premier, other than giving jobs to one minister and some out-of-province NDP worldview hacks, how many new jobs for Albertans has your government actually created? Good question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to respond to this question. There are two approaches to dealing with economic shock caused by the drop of price in the oil, as well as natural disasters, including the wildfires. The opposition would have us turn back the clock. Actually, they spoke philosophically about how great this is, the 1990s, where they fired thousands of teachers, nurses, public servants, Mr. Speaker. Instead, we're using a very balanced, reasoned approach, moving forward with a number of different economic stimulation plans, and we'll continue to support public service, Mr. Speaker.
That would be none.
One answer. So far, so good, but I remind you again, keep the volume down, please, for a supplemental.
That would be one job less tens of thousands of energy jobs. The Economic Development Minister has said that 80% of contracts for Fort McMurray rebuild have gone to Fort McMurray businesses, and yet I've heard the number's false. And the Fort McMurray Construction Association has said that workers from the community are being overlooked for jobs. Since the minister said there's information out there, I'm going to give the minister a chance to clear that up. Yeah. To the minister, will you commit to tabling a list of the 532 contracts signed, who they were awarded to, and where will those employers get their workers from?
Minister of Economic Development and Trade.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'll thank the member for the question. Being a former municipal leader, the member should actually know that the bulk of these contracts, in fact, the government of Alberta has only issued 5 contracts. The over 500 contracts the member is speaking of was issued by the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo, which it is up to them to decide if they would like to disclose the list. But I can tell you that 80% or 4 out of 5 contracts of the 500 that the regional municipality has issued have been to Fort McMurray workers and owners.
Second supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A vibrant and viable Fort McMurray is critical to the successful rebuilding of the economic structure of the region. Agreed. We know that the province has already contracted an Ontario company to map the fire damage using unmanned aerial vehicles. Can the minister explain why the contract was outsourced away from the province without hiring somebody from Fort McMurray or even Alberta?
Good question.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, as the member will know, there are, under extraneous circumstances, there are times that governments use sole source contracts. In the example of the Fort McMurray fire, the 5 contracts that have been issued are a combination of the fact that they needed to be done on a very critical, timely manner, and as well, our government will only look outside of Fort McMurray and outside of Alberta when there are contracts that cannot be filled by Alberta-based companies. But I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, that we are working with the regional municipality to ensure Fort McMurray